Everybody, thank you so much for joining us. This is Adrienne Montgomery with ERP VAR. I am so excited to have Doug Johnson and Noelle Blockson with us from Acumatica today. We're going to get started here in a couple minutes. We just have some housekeeping notes. If you note on your webinar pane right next to your name, there's a question mark button. And we just ask if you have any questions, so go ahead and click on that question mark and a dialog box will open up where you can go ahead and key in your question. We're going to be reserving the announcing of those questions until the end of the webinar, and we just really appreciate you spending your time with us today. We know it's hard to come by, and we appreciate you spending it with us. With that said, I'm going to go ahead and let Noelle Blockson, Acumatica Partner Recruitment Manager, get started. Thank you so much, Noelle.
Thank you, Adrienne. Hello, everybody. Thank you again for joining us today. And today we are going to start off our presentation, our informative presentation, with one of our newer partners, Jeff Mayer from the Mayer Group. And there's a great picture of Jeff right there. And just want to give you a little quick background about the Mayer Group. They're headquartered right outside of Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. They are not only an Acumatica partner, but they have background in being a partner of Exact Software and also Macola. They were established over 60 years ago as a CPA firm, actually, and gradually migrated into the ERP software sector. The Mayer Group enhances each business with their unique solutions through a highly talented team, which Jeff will speak more about, and he's really was at the helm of creating this talented team of individuals to make sure that their implementations are successful. And through their expertise and dedication has met the highest expectations of numerous enterprises over the years and has become a recognized leader in the ERP field. And we welcomed them actually last year, so they are truly one of our newer partners. So I want to welcome Jeff Mayer. How are you doing today, Jeff?
I'm doing great. Thank you for having me. Really looking forward to it. So thanks for that great introduction.
Oh, no problem. And thank you for joining. And as we mentioned earlier, or may have mentioned earlier, this audience is a hodgepodge of, individuals joining us today, but we definitely would like to talk a little bit more to the prospective partners who are listening. So let's begin with the first question. Can you give us a little background of your company? I kind of give a little snapshot, but could you expound a little bit more?
I would love to, although you did a great job,
Okay.
Certainly. So as you mentioned, we started off a long time ago as a CPA firm. In 1995, we expanded into the ERP space. So we kind of went from being a solely accounting firm, CPA based, into IT in 1995. Over the last little over 20 years, the ERP side of our business has really outpaced the accounting side. So we, a couple of years ago, kind of branched off with the Mayer Group being the IT side of the business. We, as you mentioned, we do and we have supported both Macola and Exact Software for those 20 plus years, and recently added Acumatica. We have toyed around with some other ERPs over the years, but really for the most part, we're focused on Macola, and then recently really been focused on the Acumatica software.
Okay, great. And then also, you mentioned you just recently came on board within the year, but what truly influenced your decision to add Acumatica to your portfolio?
Sure. So a number of things and a number of reasons that we started looking for other solutions. The number one reason that we started looking was looking for a cloud-based solution. So up until Acumatica, we were really focused on-prem. We were looking for that entrance into the cloud space. What we didn't expect when we chose one was that we'd have the option to implement it in either cloud, public cloud, private cloud, or on-prem. We really thought that we'd be focusing on a single method, and we were lucky to find Acumatica, where we really have, with one knowledge base of understanding the software, we have our ability to deploy it in any of those three models. So that was a really nice surprise. Also, one of the other reasons that we focused on Acumatica was the 100% channel. The idea that, you only sell through the channel again, previous experience, we've had some mixed mode there where the software developer has sold both direct and through channel. We were looking for a company that really focused on the channel. And that also in turn, in our eyes meant that you were putting more effort in the development of the software instead of focusing on direct sales.
Okay, great. Thank you for that. Now, I remember seeing you at our partner summit in Nashville this year, and you had attended one of our certification workshops. So could you kind of elaborate on your experience with the onboarding? We've introduced some new certification processes and things like that.
Sure, absolutely. So the onboarding process is absolutely, it's truly revolutionary in a lot of ways. I mean, it is certainly, there's a lot of classes, it's done by badge. So the nice thing is that we were able to divide up our consultants, sales, pre-sales people, and each of them directly understood based on the badge that they were required to earn exactly what the requirements were and what their knowledge had to be. So doing everything by badge and the requirements being spelled out of what is required of you, the number of badges, really helped our staff and our team understand that. So it was pretty easy for the typical badges. What I attended at the end of Summit was the executive conference, which was really nice to see, or have since. And what's nice to see is not just Acumatica focusing on here's how our software works, but also getting a core group of people together to really dictate, what does the future of ERP space look like? What should we be doing in our organization? What changes should we be looking at and how maybe we do billing and how we service accounts, and kind of getting together with our peers and bringing everybody together to not just have these discussions, but also formulate a plan on what may be best for each of our organizations. So it's really interesting to see the software vendor not only interested in how to deploy the software, but also how to better manage our businesses.
Okay. And we recently came across one of the recent great CIO applications article that you participated in. And you stated that the Mayer Group helps organizations become more efficient and eliminates duplication through ERP solutions. So could you tell us, the audience, how you're using Acumatica to help you with this mission?
Sure. So historically, we have always used, whether it be ancillary systems, clients that have multiple systems, whether it be ERP and then some other systems outside of that, and trying to have multiple systems interact with each other. The ability with Acumatica having the open APIs really makes that a lot simpler for us. It's a lot faster to deploy and a lot less expensive for the client. But we're now able to, within the software and without involving a lot of custom code, we're able to really take outside systems, integrate them into Acumatica. If we have to build something that looks slightly different, we're able to interact with those screens very easily through those open APIs. So it's definitely taken time to deployment and cost significantly quicker and significantly less expensive for our clients. So Acumatica is making that a lot easier than kind of that older traditional software where maybe writing directly to tables or doing some other things that's a lot more complicated than calling those APIs.
Great, thank you for that. Do you have a favorite Acumatica customer success story to share?
I do. So always, I guess that first deal is kind of special and close to the heart. You finally came off of all these badges and all this education. You're eager to hit the ground running. So that first deal is always kind of close to the heart. So our first Acumatica deal, some of the differences as we look back after the fact and what we're used to, and again, we were selling on-prem software, was time of the deal. So from the time that we actually got the lead to the time that we closed it was about 3 months shorter than what our average has been. So the fact that it wasn't a large outlay of money up front and it was an annual spend, that one happened to be cloud, public cloud subscription, really shortened the sales cycle for us. So it made it a much easier sell having kind of that recurring model as opposed to that large outlay of cash. In addition, it was very interesting with them just to see the number and the amount of information that they need to see. Historically, we're used to going into some pretty deep dives with the software and really showing almost, feature function after feature function, which we try to avoid. In this particular one, I mean, it was literally a single visit to the prospect, and then a couple of calls and they signed. So, both the time it took from acquiring the lead to closing the deal, as well as what that sales process and the hours that we spent on it, were both significantly easier, shorter, and less expensive to close the deal.
It's a great story. Thank you for sharing. So when you're hearing that you are competing against another vendor in an opportunity, how did you set yourself, the Mayer Group, apart from everyone else, and especially as it relates to Acumatica?
Sure. So a number of our staff is actually, we have quite a bit of developers on staff. So as we kind of mentioned earlier, with tailoring our software to integrate outside systems into the core ERP, or even customize the ERP system in itself, one of the things we do is definitely differentiate ourselves with the number of developers and what we have on staff. So we really do everything in-house. We don't outsource much at all. Everything is really done by our staff. Just like most of the partners probably on the call today, I mean, we really do take a lot of pride. We were historically an accounting firm, so we come from that services background. So we really take a lot of pride in partnering with our accounts, us becoming an extension of their team, and really working through those things. So we really are hands-on, very hands-on with them. We guide them through the process through project management, but then we also have the arm of the business where we can customize and tailor our solutions for their specific needs. So the idea is that we're not, necessarily always expecting that they're going to tailor their business to how we think the software should work for them. We're, very happy to help them tailor the software to how the software can work for their business.
Great, thank you. And our last question, why should a prospective partner consider joining Acumatica?
So Acumatica is a pretty unique ecosystem. I mean, it's very interesting. Again, we're pretty new, and I've attended and gone out to, both Summit as well as some of these training sessions, and it's really open. Most resellers, most partners are really anxious to help each other. It's a very unique ecosystem where we're willing to talk about business challenges, how our business is run, what may be troublesome for us or working well for us, and each person really kind of rolling up their sleeves and helping each other out. So it really is a unique ecosystem where everybody's there for kind of to improve the organization as a whole. The other thing that's really interesting, as I mentioned earlier, is the fact that we're not just focusing on software itself at some of these conferences. It is focusing on business, larger business decisions. And then the last thing is just Summit. When you join Acumatica, if you've ever been to Summit, it is just a different experience with the excitement of customers, of partners, of everybody in the room. I mean, they are truly excited and happy to be there. So, in general, I'd say it's the ecosystem, whether it be partners, customers, outside people. It's just the excitement and everything going on around Acumatica, the traction that they're really getting. I mean, it's really making a mark, and it's fun to compete with as opposed to against.
So thank you so much, Jeff. And just want to also bring this to the attention of the audience. Jeff, as well as some of our other stellar partners, provided us with testimonials about their experience of being a partner with Acumatica. And then please visit that on our website. And thanks once again, Jeff. And I'm going to now
thanks for having me.
No problem. Thank you. And we're now turning this over to my colleague, Doug Johnson, who is the VP of Product Management for Acumatica. He's going to talk about the 2018 Acumatica R2. Game changer.
Thank you very much, Noel. Yes, that's all right. No
Thank you.
problem. As mentioned, thank you, Jeff, for explaining the partner experience and everything around that. One of the key points that Jeff made was that we sell only through partners. So we take a large amount of pride in our product, and we focus many more resources than most ERP companies on product development. So for that reason, we thought it might be interesting to talk to you as prospective partners at some of the improvements that we've made in 2018 R2. So you can see what a release will contain. We typically do semi-annual releases, which means this is one of two major releases that we have announced throughout the year. And as one of two major releases, you'll see it's packed full of features. And once again, that's because we're very focused on improving the product. Now, for those of you who aren't familiar or less familiar with the application, some of the demonstrations I'm doing might dive into the weeds a bit, but I'll try and give some background before I get into each one, so that we're not just hitting you with new features, but also providing you with some of the backgrounds and benefits of the software platform as well. So when we typically say where we're doing our improvements, everything in Acumatica starts with the platform and our technology. Initially, 10 years ago when we got started, we were a technology company. We were offering this cloud and web-based technology to the world. And it was a technology platform that did, as I said, Jeff's already said all this, but it was built for partners who want to take it and customize it for their customer. And we continue to work with that in our heads, that we start with a platform and we make it a customizable platform, in that we focus on APIs, integrations, our customization toolkit, and then overall usability, which is a critical factor in people's acceptance of ERP solutions today. So throughout our history, we've always focused on ease of use. Sometimes ERP systems by nature are not the easiest things to use, but we've spent a good deal of time and focus in that particular area. Now, on top of all the enhancements that we made on our platform and technology, we build what's called modules. And these are the things like AP, AR, GL, and they're all wrapped up into financial management. We also have CRM, so we have opportunities, leads, contacts, marketing campaigns, other things that get rolled up into customer management, a project accounting module, order management, and distribution and inventory. Now, the best-in-class modules, one of the focuses that you'll see a lot of today during the demonstration is the interconnectivity of these modules. These are the developers that work on these best-in-class modules program on top of this platform. So all the code that they develop in these modules is the same code that you get if you want to do customization. So it makes it a very flexible and easy to use platform. Now, these modules talking to one another is a very important thing. The cross-industry workflows, for example, somebody in sales creating a professional service project that can immediately get converted to a project that would be, billed based on time and materials or something else. I'll be showing that. Some of the order management, integrating with commerce systems for true commerce-enabled ERP, all these best-in-class modules are an important part of that. And then the last part and once again, I'm going to go into some more specifics of our improvements in all these areas, is the industry-specific solutions. So we start with the platform, then we use our best-in-class modules, and then we tailor those to build specific workflows for specific industries. Most recently, we launched a construction edition. The construction edition is very project-centric in that people have lots of moving parts to keep track of tasks and other things, and we've implemented and rolled that out. I'm also going to be demonstrating for you today our field services edition, which is tailored to the needs of people who need to go in and do specific things in the areas of installations, maintenance, and other things that occur outside the office on customer premise. One of the key things that will show is a lot of the enhancements that we've made to our mobile systems. So let's talk about the platform and technology, and to give you an idea of the breadth of what 2018 R2 includes, here's just a limited number of the features. The mobile framework was enhanced so that it's even easier to share mobile customizations between platforms. So if you build an application for the Acumatica app that installs on Android and iOS devices, it's now very easy to take that and package it and give it to all or some or none of your customers, depending on what their needs are. I'll also be demonstrating our mobile push notifications that we just launched so that you can monitor the system to show how that works. In the area of reporting, you'll see that I'll do in-place pivoting. We have pivot tables for everybody likes Excel, but the goal of ERP is to get out of Excel. So we'll be showing some of that today and how we've enhanced our pivot table technology within the platform. We'll also go in and show how we've built these profile panels. Generic inquiries are an important part of Acumatica. As you see them, you'll understand why. They feed data into anything else that you can imagine. They also connect to external systems like Power BI and other systems that take Acumatica information through OData feeds and even through the APIs that we provide. So all the reporting tool enhancements are there as well. But what we're going to focus on during the demonstration are some of the usability features. Getting the information you need exactly when you need it without involving developers is an important part of the application. So with that in mind, let's go ahead and start showing some of the usability features of Acumatica. So you'll notice here, I've got a login screen. I'm going to log in to my system, and immediately I'm taken to a home screen. My home screen happens to be a dashboard. I'm logged in as the administrator, which means I have access to all the different workspaces that you see here. Within the workspaces, you can see, for example, in finance, I have the ability to go in and create new transactions. I have the ability to get reports. Everything's basically one step away from me through these workspaces. A lot of things in Acumatica are shown through dashboards. Dashboards are real-time things that provide information about how your company is performing or about the specific role. So you can see this is just the standard sales demonstration data set. You can see if I logged in as an AP clerk, or as an AR clerk rather, I would get information telling me about things that I need to keep track of, overdue accounts, how long they're overdue, overdue balances, and things like that. No matter who I am, I could be a salesperson or somebody else, I might have a need to see a customer view. So a customer view gives me a snapshot of all my Acumatica customers. These are customers, you can see sales trends, you can see recent activities, you can see all the different contacts they have, as well as recent products that they've purchased. From the customer account, if you want, you can go in and you can even take a look at specific clients. So through the use of parameters, this was a recently launched feature, I can go in and say, let's just take a look at what this dashboard looks like for one specific customer. And now you can see I take all of my macro level information and segment it down to a specific customer. If I need to, I can go in and find somebody else and easily discover those things. Now returning, if I want to go back up to my macro level, these are all very active dashboards. They're driven by generic inquiries that you can write without technical knowledge in the background. So for example, this sales order trend by month, if I want to, I can go into here and I can say, well, this is not looking, the blue line, this regular sales orders is crowding out everything else. So you can eliminate that. And then if you want to zoom in and highlight specific areas, you can do that. And if you want to drill into any of these dashboards, you can also do that as well. So all these things are very easy to manage as you need to. If I want to, let's say, now I'm looking at, these are open opportunities for every customer. So let's say I want to drill into it, but I'm going to click this 136, and you'll see I now have this dashboard called opportunities. It's drilled in, and it has these specific filters and other things that are being displayed. And in fact, it created a new one based on the information that was shown in the front dashboard. Now from here, you'll see that we've implemented this new feature called side panels. Side panels give you the option to say, here's a specific opportunity. Let's click on this side panel, and this is going to pull up additional information about either the opportunity, about the customer, or whatever it is. So in this case, it's pulling up more information about the opportunity itself. I can also, if you notice, I can go click this little widget here, which is a dashboard. So the exact same dashboard, if you remember from the front screen where I initially got into here, is also available on a customer by customer basis based on the opportunity. If I wanted to go down, let's take a look and find somebody else That was ABC Studios. Let's look who my simple project opportunity is a different character. So I get different information depending on who I navigate to. So once again, the whole idea is it's very easy to use and very easy to get information from one place without having to navigate to too many different areas. Now, all of these things are very easy to create. I want to stress that. So let's go in, and under customization, you can see I can go in and edit the underlying inquiry for this. As part of 2018 R2, we made it this navigation tab, the ability to add that side panel. So over here, I can add different Acumatica screens. You saw I added an opportunity screen and a dashboard screen. And over here, I pick the field that I want to link and bring up the appropriate entity. So it's quite simple, and that's the way that you can go in and make all these side panels work, once again, without programming or anything else. Now, from the other perspective, let's go in and look at getting information from a dashboard in more detail. So I'm going to go back over to my customer view. This was the dashboard we started with. And actually, let's go bring it up to the macro level so we have a whole bunch of information. We can drill down and basically get more and more information about specific things that occur within the system. So as we need to, if we wanted to drill into specific sales orders, we could do that. If we wanted to drill down into these items purchased in the last 12 months, we could do that. So let's go in and we'll do this one. This is going to bring us to a screen. Once again, it's going to, and on this screen, there's a list of all the, you can see it's quite a large list. There's 295 pages of records with 67,000 records. Or I'm sorry, 6,000 records. So if we go in, we can get this information in a way that's a little bit easier to digest in terms of a pivot table. The pivot table is one of the ones that allows you to slice and dice information how you would want to do it. So over here, I have a listing of all the records that got brought back from that query. And right next to it, I have a list of all the items, but it's organized a little bit more by periods and by inventory item. Once again, if I go into a separate pivot table screen, you'll see that it's very easy to create these pivot tables just like you're in Excel. So if I wanted to make different filters and other things, I could do that. Let's say, for example, I only want to see certain customer classes. So I'll make customer class part of that. And then I'm going to view my pivot. And this is going to show another screen where you'll see my pivot table has all the different, has the standard items. Sorry, this is running on my local computer. So as the GoToWebinar eats up CPU time, there goes the demo slows a little bit. Within here, you can see I've got that same pivot, but now I have this drag and drop capability as you might do in Excel. So let's say it's interesting to see all the sales by inventory item, and I've done this by quarter. But if I don't want to necessarily do that, I can check off certain quarters so I don't include so many results. Alternatively, let's say that I want to break this down by sales for specific states. I can drag the state down, and then that's going to create another layer of abstraction so that I can see my specific inventory item, this computer, how many were sold in California, Illinois, Maryland, and so on and so forth. So, and then once again, if I drill into the specifics, if I go to, let's say, New York in 2014 Q1, it immediately pulls up that specific data that made that. And from there, I can drill into the specific transactions that caused that to occur. So it's a very powerful tool in terms of auditing and everything else. And once again, we've enhanced the pivot tables in 2018 R2 to work even more efficiently, as well as to include that capability to appear side by side with the data. Now, one of the things that we've always had in Acumatica is something called attributes. Attributes are like user-defined fields. So if I go to my attributes screen, you see I can go define all these different types of user-defined fields. They can be combo boxes, text fields, whatever you want. Adding other things is super easy. So now I've got another valid value for my color. Now the thing that we've recently done is we've made it possible to add these attributes to any screen that you see in Acumatica as a user-defined field. So for example, let's go into just a channel journal transaction field. I can also navigate through menus, but this is my cheater up here. My global search allows me to quickly jump back and forth to screens and other information in the system. I'm just going to pull up a standard record. Now, once again, not everybody, I'm the administrator, so I have access to this, but I can go in here, and as a new feature in 2018 R2, I can manage these user-defined fields. So let's go add one. We'll pick the one we just played around with called color. And maybe, I don't know, maybe we'll add one more just for sake of having something more than one, and hit OK. So now, as I return to my area, you'll see I have my normal document that I have, and then I have these user-defined fields. So if I go create some new GL transaction, and let's go down here and we'll do something innocuous like sales revenue, sub-accounts, let us break it down, let's do some simple credit, and maybe we'll set payable, receivable. Ignore my accounting. All right, so we've got ourselves a very simple journal transaction. Now the user-defined field that I have, I don't know why you'd call a GL transaction red, but if you wanted to use it for something, you could. And just like that, I've gone in and I've made it possible to quickly add that information to my journal transaction. Now, more importantly than that, all these user-defined fields, remember the generic inquiries I just showed you, let's go see how easy it is to create a new one based on that user-defined field. I'm going to open this up in a new tab so we can relate back to what we're doing. And bear with me while I create an inquiry from scratch. We'll call this our GL batch. You can add this inquiry if you want to a screen in the system to make it visible for everybody. I'm just going to put it in a hidden area. I'm going to pull up my batch table, hit save, and over here in the results grid, we'll go add some things that we want to see that appear in our inquiry. Once again, these could be things we feed into a pivot table. We could feed them to dashboards. We could do whatever you would want to do. So maybe we want the reference number. Maybe we want date, third, that's fine. Maybe we want color. It was one of the ones that doesn't seem very realistic, but oops, but we've added it. And just to keep things out, maybe there's an amount field or a total, debit total or credit total. We'll do credit total and debit. This is enough to get us some results, hopefully. I can go in, hit conditions and other things. Then I'll go in and view this inquiry. Now, once again, this is 10 years or so of data. So there's a lot of records here. But you'll see that I've got this new field that I just created. And let's sort it so that we can actually see some of the information that we had. So we have got a couple of different transactions that you see in there that we can then make available. So just like that, I was able to quickly add a field to my system and then go in and make it available for everyone to see. That shows, once again, the power of the Acumatica platform. All right, so that should give you a little bit of a feel for some of the features that we launched in terms of usability. The other area where we've built a lot of improvements is in our best-in-class modules. Now, part of our, every 6 months, we come out with a major release. And we need to catch up on things that happen with the outside world a lot of times. So the outside world could be things like, you might have heard of GDPR compliance, also the ASC 606 deferred revenue feature regulations that came out. So we continue to stay on top of these things and build in the capabilities to make all of those things happen. Inside the order management area, once again, in Acumatica, we have many of these different modules that are all connected in the same database, and they can be accessed from any website or web application. So when the result of having everything in the same database makes it very easy to connect modules. So when we wanted to connect order management with a commerce system, we use our APIs so that any system such as BigCommerce, Magento, whatever it might be, or it could be a unique platform that one of your clients has built, can send information, sales order information, into Acumatica. Now, in the normal process of doing a sales order, we might calculate taxes, we may calculate discounts and everything else. Well, that's not going to be good if you've already collected the person's money from a commerce site. So to make it even easier to interface with commerce sites and do other things, we've built like a fast track for orders that come in this way and immediately go to shipping. We've also managed multiple carriers, so now that we interface with carriers outside the U.S. for people who want to originate shipments in other countries such as the UK and Australia and Canada. And we also come in and make it possible through an integration with stamps.com to ship internationally and create all the correct manifests and things that are needed to satisfy customs requirements. Now, one of the other things that I want to show you is the project accounting pieces. Once again, we're going to play on the theme here of cross-connected applications. So the idea is that you have a salesperson and he needs to communicate with project managers in some manner, shape, or form. To do that, you'll see that a project can be very complicated in Acumatica. An accounting project can have different billing capabilities. It can have real-time, or it can have fixed price. It can have billing that's time and materials. It can have different tasks that are billed different ways. It can have percentage of completions for progress billing, and it can have several different stages. Other projects can be real simple. They might just have one task, and they might just have a couple of products associated with them. So we had to develop this project quote as part of 2018 R2 that's focused on being able to take all that information and then communicate that over to a project manager who may have a specific work that needs to get done, but needs to remember information that was created by a salesperson. So to show that, we're going to go back to the demonstration and we'll come up with a flow. Now, once again, think of these things that we're building. We aren't building these purely out of our own, we're not pulling all these ideas out of our head. There's a site called feedback.acumatica.com where we constantly gather information about new features. And this feature was requested by a number of different people. We have a research company in Texas that does professional services projects. And the research company it was very important for their salespeople to communicate properly with their project managers. We have a construction company in Florida that they built a whole project plan on site with the client before it got handed over to the actual build phase. So once again, all that had to be managed. So all these things that you see in the project manager area also need to be managed by the sales people so that the information will flow through and come to here. So let's go in and we'll just show a quick example of how that flow would work. So we might start with a salesperson, and we've already showed the salesperson dashboard where you have different opportunities and things that appear. We could also, if we wanted to, just go directly. You see occasionally I can go direct to an opportunity screen and pull up all the different opportunities that are out there. You can filter these down, so if there was too many opportunities there and we just wanted to see mine, we'll go in here and do this. So let's take a look at this one. This looks like an opportunity with some files attached, some notes and other things. So I'll open this one up. Now, in the process of speaking with the client, you can see I've attached files, I've made notes, and in this case, I'm going to go ahead and I can actually create a quote for the client. So I've got a task that says go ahead and create a quote. I have both a sales quote and a more robust project quote. So we're going to go create the project quote. Once again, this is all new with 2018 R2, this project quote. We'll just I'll pick my simple. You can get more, like if the project manager can go in and enter a ton of details if they want. In this case, we'll just keep it simple. Within the estimate, you can go in and add different products. Let's just go, this is we're going to have an industrial application. I will say some industrial item, put a 1 on there. Well, let's say we have some hours that need to get done for this. We'll say customization hours to our item, build 20 of them. The unit cost is getting pulled from this item. For project or for salespeople that get very deep into the details of a project, they could also go in and assign specific employees to that. That would be useful if we needed to get very specific with the unit cost and determine profitability and gross margin based on specific employees. Now, once I've got this quote organized, I can go submit it. That puts it on to the opportunity. I can also go in, I can send the quote with 1 click to the make it and send it to the client. After the client accepts it, I now have this new feature that we've added called converting it to a project. I can activate, I can copy all the notes and files and link any activities we have. So I'm going to go in and I'm going to go create a brand new project in the project accounting area, and we'll go in and it'll immediately take us to that screen. Additionally, we can send a notification through here that the project's been activated to the project manager. That notification can be sent through email or whatever technique we have to go do it. And we'll talk about some more notification techniques in just a minute. But as you see, the process to go in and create something with tasks, with a revenue budget, with a cost budget that was already detailed, and then we have a mini P&L for this project that's about to take place, can all be sent over from the initial sales order. You'll also see that the project manager can include any of the detailed specifications, different project plans, and other files that may have been attached to there. So that's an example of the cross-connected workflow that we've created within the project and CRM modules within Acumatica. All right, so we talked a little bit about our best-in-class modules. Next, we want to get into some of our industry solutions. Our industry solutions are targeted towards specific types of businesses. So people who buy and sell a lot of goods, there's a distribution edition. We did some enhancements with terms of discounting and freight calculation options to make that even easier. The construction edition, I mentioned we just launched it, but we're continuing to improve it as well, adding some simplistic project management through management of RFIs and issues. Manufacturing, we're adding advanced planning and scheduling. That allows companies to verify that their production schedules are sufficient to and so that they can actually predict the output and availability of finished goods based on their capacities and resources and inventory on hand. We also did an integration with the project accounting module that I showed, so that as your manufacturing products roll off the shop floor, they can immediately be either expensed or allocated as work in progress to the project module. And then last but not least, our field services edition. I'm not going to talk too much about the enhancements there because it's the subject of our next demonstration. A field services demonstration is going to take you through various stages of a workflow. It's going to start with a customer who wants to purchase something. Let's say they purchase, in this case, we're going to purchase an air conditioner. The salesperson can go create the opportunity, which can immediately then be converted to a service order. The service order may need to be, maybe we don't stock air conditioners, so that's going to notify purchasing that it needs to create a purchase order and bring that air conditioning into the fold. At that point, we're going to receive it. All the green things you see here are new features that we added to smooth this out. The dispatcher is going to go ahead and schedule an appointment, at which point we're going to move to our mobile application. The field tech's going to perform all the work on the mobile device in the field until it finally gets over to finance to review the order and prepare the bill. So that's a very complex workflow, and as you can imagine, we're going to have to, it requires definitely a lot of parts to show, but we'll see what we'll try and do our best with it right here to make it look easy. All right, so let's go into, once again, we're going to go into our opportunities screen. Actually, I should show you one other thing. I think we can do we could do. I know. I think I have one waiting for ABC Studios. So we can see. I can go. Not only can I look up areas there, but I can look up all the different things that we have that relate to them. I can look at cell AC, and then one of those. I have to remember what I called my thing, but that's all right. We'll just go grab it. It'll be able to search all those different things that you see here. So if I wanted to, I could navigate directly from the global search window to get to these guys. So here I have an existing opportunity. And remember, I converted this to a project before, but this one's not as complicated. It doesn't need to be a project. It's just something I want to schedule through a field services workflow that I showed before. In addition, my salesperson in this case is very knowledgeable of vendors and what the cost of items are. He might be looking through a vendor catalog and say, you know what, I know I can get this for, I know the guy down there, I know we can get this AC unit for $1,900 and I know who to go get it from. So he can include all this in the opportunity as he's negotiating the price with his customer. Now, once he's completed this, you can go in here and you can create a service order directly from this opportunity. So we're going to go in and do that. The type of service order I'm going to create, we have different types of workflows. We have maintenance workflows and that help us do go back and keep doing it. In this case, we're just going to schedule an installation. Now, to schedule the installation, you'll see that now I've created my service order, and all the information, by the way, that we had before in terms of the AC installation, the inventory item that needs to get created, as well as the tasks involved, are all created for me and passed over to the service order. You'll also notice this service order is waiting for parts. So immediately I know, and purchasing is notified that they need to go create and need to go grab some of these parts. So I'm going to go to this purchasing screen. Normally I would do this through a dashboard, but in the interest of time, we'll just go to this screen called Create Purchase Orders. The Create Purchase Orders screen aggregates requests from several different areas throughout the system. You can have inventory replenishments, you can have different things that from different areas, from sales orders. In this case, you can see a field service order to purchase. There's our train unit that needs to get purchased. So I'm going to go just create one. So I'll go ahead and process this. My purchasing person would have the opportunity to aggregate different needs across the entire organization to be more efficient through our purchasing and qualify for volume discounts. Now, as we go ahead, we'll pull up our purchase order and PO for ABC Studio installation. And we can take that off hold. We also have approval workflows. None of that's new. That's all already been in the system. But we'll go ahead and approve it, and then we're going to go receive it. I'm going to bypass a lot of time here that has to happen just so you can keep track of so we can kind of move things along. Enter some vendor reference number, hit save, and you'll see now that we can go in and release this item. So this is going to bring that AC unit into inventory. The other thing that it's going to do, one of the new features is that it's allocating this AC unit to the service order that we just created. This ensures that if two people order the same part, someone doesn't go and steal my AC unit for a different order or for something else, so that when my appointment gets scheduled, the parts and other things are guaranteed to be there. So after we've gone ahead and received our inventory item, we can come back to our service order, we do a quick refresh, and you'll see we're no longer waiting for purchased items. The next thing that we might want to do is we might want to go to our dispatcher and schedule this. I'm going to use a cheater to get here from a one click, but you could also go through these navigational menus to go to our scheduling process. So here's my daily schedule in terms of what it looks like, and it filters it because I selected one order on what it is. Oops, I didn't want to open that one. What I do want to do, though, is filter it based on the staff that can perform that order. So you'll see I've got various people that can meet the requirements, and I can go drag this over, and maybe Michael Andrews can go take care of this specific order on this appointment. So this is going to go create an appointment for Michael Andrews. Now, typically what would happen is this would then send a mobile notification to Michael Andrews' phone, and he would go and be able to start working immediately on this appointment, or he could pull it up from a list of other appointments and work it into his day. We have integration with Google Maps so that he can see where all his appointments may be for that day. All right, so now we've got our appointment scheduled. Now that we have our appointment scheduled comes the tricky part of the demonstration, because if anything's not going to work, it's always this part where I got to show my mobile phone on the screen. So let's see if everything's happening here. Okay, so here's my mobile phone. Whoops, I flipped it over with my Acumatica application. So I'm going to go ahead and log in using my super secret password to the Acumatica app. Now, the Acumatica application has all the same information on it that is available through a browser. So I could open up the Acumatica application on a browser on this mobile phone, but the information is a little bit easier to digest, as you can see, in this mobile type of applet format where we can go in and have access to these different screens. So I'm going to go ahead and here and hit the appointments list. I'm doing this on my phone that right now is tethered through Wi-Fi. And this is going to give me a list of all the appointments that need to get scheduled. So today is the 26th. Oops. Oh, it's not my appointment. Gads. All right, I knew I should have. Let's see if I can go change my filtering criteria. We want to look only for, I think I assigned that one to Michael Andrews. So let's take a look and see what he's got on his schedule. Once again, not something you would normally do, but as admin, the grand poobah, I get to do what I need to do. All right, and he's got a couple of things he's doing on the 26th, and bummer. I was hoping I could find my. Well, we might have to pull up a different. Oh, here it is. So I'm going to pull up this. I must have scheduled it a day in advance. So we're going to go ahead and start this appointment that we just created to sell and install this unit to ABC Studios. Now from here on out, the first thing he gets is he pulls up the appointment, and because it's an Android device, I'm going to try and see how to get to my appointment. So I click this View on Map button. Android, being a Google product, is going to select Google Maps as its default and show me how to get to my appointment. In this case, providing that my phone gods are with us. There we go. We're slowly pulling it up. We're going to go ahead and get directions to somewhere it looks like in New York City. This ought to be a joy. There we go. We get to drive from Washington, D.C. to New York City to make our appointment. Stopping by and saying hello to Jeff and Philadelphia as we go by. Anyway, you get the idea. So the interaction of the mobile phone allows us to communicate that. Now, since we're going all the way up to New York, we're probably going to be a little bit late. So I'll call Travis Harper, who is the contact and we'll tell him that we're running late. So you can once again do that through the mobile phone integration. After we've called him, now we actually would, let's say, arrive on site. Once we arrive on the site, we can go ahead and start our appointment. So we'll go in and we'll start the appointment. And the benefit of that is if I click, I'm going to click back here real quickly. You'll notice that my appointment back at headquarters is immediately started. You'll also notice that the GPS location of my appointment has been captured so that if I need to see where this appointment was started from, I have that ability as well. All right, so let's go back out into the field. One of the things another area is this comments area. In most situations, you get into a case where people hate making notes because it's very difficult to type on triplicate forms and take good notes. Through the benefit of this taking advantage of these mobile phones that billions of dollars are being spent on by Apple and Google and everyone else, you can see that we've gone ahead and captured that information. So let's go ahead and save all that information. If we need to, we could go into this inventory tab. One of the new features in Acumatica that we just added was the ability to add tabs. So if we needed to, there's the air conditioner, but we could go down here and add additional inventory if it was required. We can also go in and to our area, and we can take pictures of what's going on while we're on site. So let's open up the camera on the phone. And there's not a lot of interesting things on my desk, but here's a power adapter. Why not? We'll go in and grab the power adapter, and now that becomes attached to our appointment. Finally, when we get to the end of doing what we're doing, we can go request a signature. So we can go present everything and request a signature. After we do that, it might be time to complete the appointment. It's going to warn me that I didn't remember to mark it. The job is complete, so I'll go mark the job is complete. And now we've completed the appointment. So once again, the power of this mobile phone was illustrated here in keeping track of all these different things that need to happen. Now, all this information, including the attachments, is available back here at headquarters. So if I'm back at headquarters and ready to go in and close the appointment and maybe even create an invoice for it, I can generate the invoice. That's a new feature to go ahead and create the invoice directly from the appointment. I could also do it in batch. If I wanted to, I could go in and take a look at, wow, not a very good picture, but you get the idea. All the field information is immediately available back at headquarters. So that's a quick example of what we've done with the mobile capabilities of Acumatica. I wanted to show one more thing, and to do that, I'm going to go to a different site. One of the areas is notifications that we're very interested in. So we're going to go to a site that has some reach and capability to get out to the internet more than my local computer. And we'll go through, a second, and we'll show you this idea of business events. Business events allow you to monitor using generic inquiries anything that goes on in the system and immediately take some action on it. And by action, you could pop up a note, you could send an email. In this case, we're going to use a mobile push notification. So it's going to go in, and we're going to go in and send a quick SMS message to the person that's associated with that. So in this case, it's going to get triggered when we change the owner of an opportunity. So once again, we've been talking a lot about opportunities today. So let's go into one quickly, open that in a new tab, and let's find one that we want to assign to my administrator. How about this one, Green Cooks? We'll go in and assign that. And then based on who it's assigned to, we should be able to go ahead and get a notification on my mobile phone that that has gone and taken place. So let me once again see if I can bring up my mobile device. Okay, hold on. Okay, so there's the new opportunity that we had. If we go in here, we can click on that. It opens up my my application. I've got multiple applications running, and then that will take me directly to my opportunity. So you'll be able to see that as soon as that opportunity gets assigned to me, I can go in and quickly, through a mobile notification, receive information about that to my cell phone. So in a nutshell, just returning back to where we started, the Acumatica 2018 R2 release include many more features than I had the chance to show you today. We're going to be going through several of them in a future demonstration to go through each features in more detail. But for now, you can learn more about all of these things at our roadshow. that we'll have coming up. You may already be registered for some of these events, and then we'll have more and more training opportunities for the 2018 R2 release. So that's it for the part of the demonstration that I wanted to show. Adrian, back to you. I took a little bit longer. I don't know if I left enough time for questions, but maybe we can run a little late.
Well, Doug, we had a lot of engagement by the audience, and thank you so much for being with us today. Great presentation, Doug. We do have a couple questions, and I think I can get done with them in a minute or two, depending on your answers. But thank you, James, for your question, and Christopher as well. I'm going to launch a poll while we're announcing these just for the audience. If we could get your answer, that would be great. Would you like to be contacted by an Acumatica partner recruitment representative? And then James, you had a question. Are there future plans to add additional subscribers, example, export scenario, customer to business events?
Yes. So part of our roadmap, what I just showed was the ability to subscribe, and you could send emails and you could send SMS notifications. We're going to continue to think of more things as well. You can also, using a subscriber, you can kick off an import scenario, which allows you to change data. Without getting into too much detail, that gives you a lot of flexibility. You'll also be able to export data using that. To go into more details about some of the new ones we're going to create will be part of our roadmap discussion, but suffice it to say that, yeah, we're constantly going to be adding more and more capabilities to that SMS messaging that I just showed you.
And we had a question from Christopher, and I see that he has left, but I think that we might want to just announce this. Maybe it's a question that the rest of the audience might share. Do the shown dashboards come with 2018 R2, or are they examples of dashboards that will need to be built?
Those are examples that are included all within our sales demonstration data, and you can create a content pack to import those into any application or customer deployment that you need. In part of our roadmap is to simplify that process and create almost what we would like to do, and then future is create a marketplace for dashboards and things like specific industries. So that can all be obtained today. You have to install a customization project to do it, but in the future we hope to make that process even easier.
Perfect. And we are 2 minutes after the hour, so I just wanted to thank everybody again. Thank you, Noel, Doug, and Jeff. Great presentations. And thank you again for spending time with us. And
thank you very much, Adrian, and everyone for joining.
My pleasure. All right, I'm going to go ahead and close out this poll. I see 75% of the remaining audience has voted. And again, we have recorded this presentation. We will be sending out a follow-up email with contact information. Noel's contact information will be included in that follow-up email along with the recording. And Jeff, Noel, and Doug, thank you again. And everybody have a wonderful day. Take care. Bye-bye.